I'm super excited to talk to you about Indy Clover. You've been running it for a handful of years now.
I love shopping, and I have always found that there just wasn't a good solution for selling off or getting rid of the things I didn't want without just like donating them. With Indy Clover, it's up to you. You bring in your stuff, you sell it, you tag it for what you think it's worth.
60 to 80 booths. They're filled with clothes, toys, home decor, you name it. Every Saturday, everything is being refreshed.
Maybe your friends and family really like your style, so they'll come shop your stuff.
How do you get the sellers in there in the first place? How do they know about Indy Clover? Keena, welcome. I'm super excited to talk to you about Indy Clover. You've been running it for a handful of years now. You're a founder with Tyler, your husband, as well as the chief marketing officer. Tell me a little bit about how you got started it with Indy Clover.
Yeah, so my background comes from loving shopping. I will say that. I love shopping. So I'm a big spender, but you can only shop so much where you definitely need to like get rid of some stuff that you have too. And I have always found that there just wasn't a good solution for selling off or getting rid of the things I didn't want without just like donating them. And so my sister and I are really big into hosting kind of like these yard sales. When we were younger, we'd have friends all come over and kind of shop our stuff, but it was a lot of setup to do. And like we'd have to have our own clothing racks and things. And so we really wanted a place where people can come and sell their stuff and everyone can kind of shop together. And so Indie Clover was born
Awesome.
from
Can
that.
tell me a little bit about the difference between an Indy Clover. Like in college, I remember going to Plato's closet and I'm like, man, I'm gonna make bank. I got 2 garbage bags full of my old clothes. And I walked out of there for with like $30. You know what I mean? I was like,
Yeah.
what? What? They gave me back more than half. Like they didn't even touch more than half of it. They're just like, we don't want that. And then everything else was like, here's $3 for your shorts that you paid $40 for. You're like, thanks. I'm gonna go get a freaking hamburger with that. But
Yeah.
so most of us that had experience with something like that. Tell me how that compares with the Indy Clover model.
Yeah, there's so many problems with that being the way to sell clothes for various reasons. One being that you're giving your stuff to one person that's going to decide this is in style or this is worth this. They're telling you how much they'll buy it for. Maybe they don't have the same style as you and they're kind of offering a really low amount. They'll hold it up and say, we'll give you $2, $3, $4, $5 for this. And you're looking at it like, I paid $75 for that. Like, I definitely don't want to sell it to you for that. And it's still a good brand. I know it's in style. I just don't wear it anymore. And so that kind of model is just, it's dependent upon that person. Whereas in Indie Clover, it's up to you. You bring in your stuff, you sell it, you tag it for what you want, what you think it's worth, and then you make a way bigger commission on what your item was originally, what you originally purchased it for.
So I walk into an Indy Clover store and I walk into the one in Linden all the time. And my niece works there, by the way. Um,
We love her, yes.
yeah, and my wife's always shopping there. And I see, 60 to 80 booths, maybe 3 feet wide, and they're filled with clothes, toys, home decor, kind of you name it. They have their own tags, and the way that I understand it's Saturdays, people pay $30 and they rent that booth from me for a week. And because they're paying $30, they need to make their money back. And because they need to make their money back, they're not going to price it outrageous. And they're also going to bring in good items, which I really like that in the model. And that happens every Saturday. So every Saturday, everything is being refreshed. And then you have
Yes.
all of these sellers that stick around to also become buyers. Am I capturing the model?
Yes, yes, yes. There's so many brilliant things about this model that I just am obsessed with. Yeah, so everybody gathers their things. They purchase a booth online, they gather their things, they come in Saturday morning, and that booth fee also covers, we provide all the supplies that they need. So they really only have to bring their clothes. So we provide the tags, hangers, little things down to like little jewelry bags, stickers for things like books, home decor. We provide a whole bin full of supplies. We have an employee there showing them how to do it, how to use a tagging gun. They tag all their items, and yeah, they can bring in whatever they want, other than like food or electronic items, but they can bring in their kids' clothes, their clothes, accessories, home decor items, husband's clothes, whatever, and fill their booth and kind of curate it how they want it to be. And then it sells for the whole week. So they can stick around and shop other people's booths. They can also come in and add to their booth, restock it anytime they want throughout the week, and add more items as items are selling. And then it sells all week long.
So once I put up my tags, I'm like, okay, I want to sell these shoes for $20. It's the seller, and then I go home for the week. Indy Clover has, typically one, maybe two staff members there for the week, and they're just kind of doing the checkouts. And then they're marking whose booth it is. And then I just show up at the end of the week. I'm like, cool, these shoes sold for $20. Instead of getting $3 for them, I got 2/3, right? So I
Hmm.
got like 12, $13. So 3, 4 times the amount. And I didn't have to sit there obviously for the week, but I did have to go and kind of tag the items. What I
Hmm.
really like about that from an ownership perspective is $30 a week, which a lot of it is very predictable if you're doing your marketing right. Times that by 4 weeks a month, like, okay, cool. If I got 60, 70, 80 booths times $30, like I could cover my rent, even my payroll, if I'm doing this correctly, off my booth fees. And then as I'm selling items, that's just cream kind of on the top. But it comes down
Yes.
to how do you fill the booths? So now let's jump into the marketing side. How do you help franchisees, and how do franchisees help themselves to make sure that sellers come in? And then we'll focus on buyers here in a sec.
One of the biggest things we encourage our franchisees to do is when they very first open their store, first of all, make connections in the area. We have several franchisees that have moved to a new area or have a new area that they don't actually know people in the area. So, one of the biggest things for sure is to market before your stores open. Your stores open, and we can dive into the nitty gritties of best things to do for grand opening. But what I was going to say is one of the best things we encourage the franchisees to do is to right when the seller comes into the door, make them be a seller and a shopper. They should be a seller and a customer and show them the appeal of, look, you can sell your stuff here, but you can also shop here because we need both, right? We don't have our own inventory in Indie Clover. We are very dependent on those sellers and customers to come in and shop, but we want them to be both. We want them to see the vision of you can sell here and you can shop here. And we love playing on that with social media that um, you're never gonna actually take any money home because you're gonna respend it all in our store. So that's a big thing for sure. And then the other thing is when they come in and they're selling their stuff, we want them to use their social medias and market their own booth to their friends and family because we don't maybe know their friends and family, but they do, and they're gonna want their stuff to sell. So all the better to encourage them to, when you're done setting your booth, get a picture, get a video, and post it to your Instagram, post it to your social media so you can have friends and family come shop because your booth will do even better. So we encourage them to do that. And that always really helps too.
So you have, again, 50, 60, 70 customers that are coming in as sellers. And you're saying if the owner is active and they're with the sellers and meeting them, they could not only just be a seller, they could be a seller, customer, and I think probably the most important one, depending on their following on social media, is that influencer, right? You can make you have the potential to have 50 influencers. Well, what if only 5 of them have 5,000 followers, but they post because you're friendly, they're friendly? I mean, mutually beneficial. Typically, for you to get 50 people to post on your business, you're paying a lot of money. And this is cool that you could get them to do it at no cost. Not only no cost, but it still benefits them.
Yes. Like it's benefiting them. Yeah. That's what we try to show to them is this will help you sell more because your friends and family can see, and maybe your friends and family really like your style. So they'll come
Yeah.
shop your stuff.
So awesome. And how do you get the sellers in there? So that's what we should do. I open up my store. I'm going to be really active and meet all my sellers. And knowing myself, I'm like, I'm going to hire a manager also to learn from me so they could do it. So I don't have to do it forever. Because I'm going to go to store number 2 and 3 here in a second. But how do you get the sellers in there in the first place? And how do they know about Indie Clover?
We provide Indie Clover Corporate. We have an entire social media team, and when stores very first decide we're going to open, they've signed, they're prepping, the store's being built out, even way before their grand opening. I'm talking like 2, 3 months before that. We have them start their social medias, and we have an entire calendar built out for them that they can start posting to have outreach and start gaining a following of people to kind of understand the concept. And we provide all the content they need that describes how it works so people can grasp the idea and have a desire to want to book a booth and come in and shop for the grand opening. So it's kind of built out for them so they can start following people in the area and having brand outreach before the stores even open so that they can start getting sellers to come in and understand how it works and book a booth.
And then on the buyer side, how do you guys get buyers? And I assume it's similar social media. And we don't have to get into a ton, but obviously paid ads are a big thing in the space to get people to come in as a buyer, and I assume a seller as well. But do you want to hit on that a little bit?
Yeah, paid ads, but also one of the fun features of using social media is if people really love it, they'll share it with their friends and family. So we do a lot of things like giveaways or like share this for this, and we're giving away a couple free booths for the grand opening, things like that, where they're incentivized to want to share it with people that they know. So then we can have more people that we're reaching out to. One of the franchisees that we have had a really good idea that when he opened his stores a couple years ago, we have encouraged other stores to do this too, but he automatically for the sellers that were coming into the grand opening, so his very first 80 sellers of his grand opening, he gave them a $25 gift card. So it really incentivized people. I'm going to sell, but then I'm sticking around to shop because he really wanted his first 80 sellers of his grand opening he wanted their booths to do amazing
That's
so that
really
they would
cool.
come back.
So really, instead of charging $30, he's charging 5, but he's
Yeah.
making them spend it on each other, which just builds up the morale and the hype and like, yes,
Yes.
I'm getting
So his
sales.
store is getting sales. They're coming back and spending in Indy Clover. They're going to stay in shop, and then they're excited. And then the sellers are excited because their booth's going to definitely do well because they're probably not only going to spend $25, but that's just the base that we gave them. And so everybody kind of wins. And it's a perfect cycle. That's the cycle of Indy Clover. We want sellers to do well. We want customers to be happy. And so then the sellers are happy and then they come back and sell and then they shop other people's booths. And so,
I love that idea because it's so easy to incentivize people to share. And then the customers that you have are a younger demographic. They have social media. They're on social media. Their friends are on social media. Because I heard before you also said like you offer them a $10 discount instead of a $30 booth fee. You do 20, and then you get a post. And it's like, where else can you get in front of that many people for just $10? And then
yeah.
the trust is so much higher when you see that your friends are posting it.
Yeah, or even for that one, we put a little sign on their booth that says, "Get a video of you setting up your booth or show us what it looks like after and post it to your Instagram as a reel or a TikTok, and we'll pay you $10 today." So it's like a bonus, like, and then they're like, "Ooh, like, I'll do that," you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're already in there to make a little extra money, so that's the
Mhm.
perfect demographic to do that with. Super cool. I also want to talk a little bit about the space. Like I'm in the last handful of years, maybe because I lived in California for so many years, I bring my own reusable grocery bags, and I would definitely rather buy something on like Facebook Marketplace, even if it's not so much the price, but just like not wasting more plastic crap in the world. You know what I mean? Like I really like that aspect of the business that you're able to sell your things and but also buy things rather than just continue to manufacture more materials out of the earth. I don't know. Can you talk to me a little bit
Yeah.
about that? Like did that go into the branding, I guess, of the company of like how important that is? And then there's also from a business standpoint, man, what happens if recession hits? You're in a really good
Yeah.
spot.
Something I love about Indie Clover and the entire concept of it is thrifting. People are very into thrifting nowadays. One, the economy sucks. So everyone needs to save a little money. And then two, it's like I don't maybe want to spend full price on even like a name brand item. I everybody likes name brand or wants to have these name brand items but doesn't want to spend full price. And then some people, this isn't benefiting me anymore. I'd rather sell it. I don't wear it or I don't want it or my kid doesn't wear it or it's outgrown and somebody else can benefit from it. And I would rather make back a little bit of money that I spent on it rather than just donating it. And not that donating is a bad thing necessarily, but sometimes we spend our own hard worked dollars on items. And I'm like, this is still like a great shirt or a great dress that somebody else could benefit from, but I'd love to make back a little bit of money that I spent on it, and then use that money to buy something else. And so I love that about Indie Clover. And people they're paying for their booth fee. And so I think that they want to put in like nicer items. And Indie Clover, we really try and avoid having like we want it to be upscale thrifting, right? We don't want it to be we're going to a thrift store and it's dirty and gross, and I don't want these items. I don't want to pay even money for them because it's gross. It's like I care about my clothes still, or I care about my items. And so it's like curated and upscale thrifting is really what we try and push to.
And so it's all really running off the marketing engine of social media. Like the model's there, it works, it's benefiting the sellers, it's benefiting the buyers, it's benefiting obviously the franchise owners. You guys are already at 18 stores in just a few years. A lot of your franchisees also own multiple stores, which I think is cool. And it's
Yeah,
all possible by getting people into your store. And if I'm hearing you correctly, if I'm a franchisee, I don't have to do any content. I do have to post every day and do all those, but it's just clicks, right? It's just dragging and clicking, copying everything that you guys have done, including when I want to do other marketing such as paid ads. I'm not finding another company to do that and figuring that out. Indy
right.
Clover has those steps
Yeah.
in the marketing. You definitely have to do it. You have to follow the system, but the system's there and it's succeeding
Yeah.
across over a dozen stores.
We have a whole in-house team that makes custom graphics. We create everything that stores need to post. We do have them hire their own social media assistants to go in every day and just kind of show what's in their stores. But we have an entire calendar outline for them of what they're posting. And so they don't have to be the ones trying to find that themselves. We provide that for them.
Awesome. From a franchisee's perspective, what do you feel like they love the most about owning a Indie Clover, and what do you also feel like they think is most challenging about owning an Indie Clover?
I do feel like they love, I mean, when you hear about the concept, it's like, I love this. And then I feel like everywhere could benefit from this. And so if they fall in love with the concept and they want to announce that and like show that to other people in these areas, then I feel like they're very passionate about it and it shows. And it always shows in their store with their performance. I would say maybe a challenging part would be, you know, who am I reaching for and who is in this area, especially if they're not, we have a couple people that aren't living in the area, so it's a little bit harder for them. Like they don't have necessarily like connections of people right then and there. But I think with social media that kind of solves it because you're able to reach these people that you didn't even know about that are in these areas.
Last question for you, Keena. What would you tell someone who's looking at an Indie Clover, but maybe on the fence on, should I do this or should I not do it?
I think that the concept speaks for itself. And then because your store, you are not providing inventory, you're only building out the space and having people come do the hard work for you. It's a no brainer. Like people are coming in, they're bringing the stuff to sell. You don't even have to go out and get that yourself. People
And you
are
don't have to
bringing it
fund
in.
it. Yeah, and that's a huge thing. Like the cost to get into this
Yeah. You're
is
only
so much less.
Yeah, you're building out your space. You are providing employees or yourself as an employee. And then the people that you find, they come in and they bring their stuff and they sell it and you make money.
Yeah,
So I feel like as long as you're willing to put in the effort and time of kind of making connections with people when they do come and being in your store after the store opens, for, an extended period of time to kind of keep those connections alive and talk about the concept to everybody that walks in the door and make them a customer and a seller. I mean, as long as the cycle keeps going of keeping those people in your store, then it's a no-brainer.
awesome. I love it. Keena, I appreciate the time. What you've built is awesome. It's amazing. Again, my wife's always there. My niece works there. Super, super cool brand. So congrats on that.
Thank you so much. Love it.